Holy shnikes, Andy. We need a little wind here. Man, it's howling. How? One of the pleasures of living on the Rocky Mountain front is the wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. That's my coffee way over there. Windstorm came just the other day. Blew the house that I lived in away. I'm having so much trouble. 30, 40, 50 mile an hour wind sustained. This is off and on since Saturday. It's maddening sometimes. But you know, what it does bring is that, Andy, it brings the moderate temperatures. Moderate temperatures. The moderate temperatures. We're actually going to see 50s, 60s this week in Great Falls, Montana. And it's December 4th. So just wait. Meanwhile, in upstate New York, wow, I know, 50 inches of snow in some parts of New England, upstate New York. Wow, holy shnikes indeed, man. Good morning, Andy. Top of the morning. It is December 4th, Monday morning. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock. And we got National Day. What is it? No shit. You can't do better than that. It is National Cabernet Day and also National Cookie Day. So you guessed it. Drink wine, eat cookies. That's the day's slogan. Drink wine, eat cookies. So let's get out with a little football out of the way. This weekend was championship weekend. Surprises or not, I don't know. Maybe not. Michigan won the Big Ten. They looked choppy doing it, but they won 26-zip. Washington beat Oregon for the second time in this year by 3 points for the second time. They won the Pac-12. Bama upset in Georgia. I don't know, Andy. I don't know if that was an upset or not. I mean, seriously. Texas rolled over the weekend, and Florida State just squeaked by when they 16-6 or something like that. They got a third-string quarterback. So you've got, or you had, the committee had a decision to make. They made their decision based on who beat who, strengths of schedules, conference champions, and of course, all I can say about the committee is go blue! Go blue! So, in the BCS, we had the Grizzlies, the Wolverines, and the bare knuckle boxing fights all on about the same time, Saturday night. Grizzlies just rolled over Delaware. You ever know Delaware had helmets that looked like Michigan's, looked like exactly like the Wolverines, in fact, the same colors. How can they do that? I mean, can they do that? Well, obviously they can, but it was a snowstorm in Missoula, 7 o'clock at night. I gotta love them, those December playoff games in Missoula. It's always on ESPN. It's always snowing and blizzarding, and the Grizzlies seem to always win. Bobcats were also in action on Saturday. They dropped it in overtime. They had the extra point blocked. Yeah, I know. They had the extra point blocked. So it's like, So Bobcats are out. Grizzlies are still in. College playoff brackets are set. We're ready to go. So basically all it is now we got to wait a couple weeks. Isn't it about a month? Got to wait about a month. I'll give our defensive backs a little time to heal. Yeah, I can take it. We won't be playing until after New Year's. So it is December 4th. It is, remember, Cabernet and Cookie Day. So this Thursday, though, it rings a little different. It rings a little different than 9/11. Yeah, I do agree. We were talking about that earlier before we came on air. This Thursday is December 7th, which of course is a day which will live in infamy. Man. Yeah, I've been smoking a little bit. Thank you for asking. I mean, it was for a whole generation. The attack on Pearl Harbor on December, Pearl Harbor Day. The big surprise that I remember in high school and in junior high school when we were, and the stories that my dad and my mom and family members, because as you listeners know, my mom and dad were both, mom was a Rosie the Riveter in Detroit, dad fought in the South Pacific. So it was a greatest generation, but the story was always that it was a surprise attack. We had no idea it was coming. It was like, we were like Chris Farley or something. La-di-da, just walking along, and all of a sudden, it's a sneak attack. So I'm implying that it wasn't a surprise, that we knew. We knew, okay? It was a military strike, in case you don't know what Pearl Harbor Day was. The Imperial Japanese Navy and Air Force, the combined Naval Air Force, against the naval base in Honolulu, Hawaii. It was just before 8 a.m. Hawaii time on December 11th, December 7th. I just think of gambling, 7-11. December 11th, 7th, 1941. Now remember now that the United States, even though we had, there was crap going down in Europe, okay? We had Germany, at war with all Europe. But we didn't go to Japan, and Japan didn't decide to attack us over what was going on from Europe. That had nothing to do with what was going on from Europe. Now, it's another story we were taught in younger ages. Yeah, they joined Europe. It was Europe and the Germans, and it was a surprise. The United States was neutral at the time, but as you know, the attack itself on Pearl Harbor, it led to the involvement. Basically, it drug us and formally entered to World War II. And of course, we had to join the side of the Allies. We couldn't go with, the Axis. We had to, because Britain and the United Kingdom had controlling interests over there in Hong Kong and Singapore. and we got into World War II the day after Pearl Harbor, which was December 8th, 1941. I thought all this was, it's so reminiscent of other things in American history. And when I question, have I questioned the surprisedness? Is that a word, surprisedness? If I question the surpriseness of the attack, remember now, history didn't teach us that the attack was preceded by months, years, decades of talks and negotiations between Japan and the United States. And that was over the future of the Pacific. Back in World War II and back in the 30s and 40s and 20s, Japan was the major player in the Pacific, not China. In fact, Japan was attacking and kicking China's ass. Okay? The war between the United States and Japan back then was a real possibility. And actually, from what we were reading, Andy, we're talking about, actually, both countries were planning for war as early as the 1920s. Okay? We were too busy banning booze, though, and prohibition. Let's ban booze. That's a good idea. Let's get rid of liquor. I don't drink. I don't have a problem with that now, but, anyway, when it happened, it really started. Now, remember, Japan's a major player in the Pacific Ocean, not China. Okay, Hong Kong, Singapore, all of that are Japanese control. Philippines, Guam, everything, Lake. What happened is when the United States decided to annex Hawaii and the Philippines in the 1890s, that's when it started. Right. Haven't y'all ever read any James Clavell novels? What was it? Noble House and Taipan, Shogun, King Rat. There's the fourth one. That's right. They were all in chronology. That was all about the British over there in Hong Kong, how the Japanese were the Japanese were always at war, and Shogun and the samurais. Japanese were major players. Okay, on global, just as Germany was. So, we annexed Hawaii. Thank you, annexed. Isn't that like Mannix, the detective show? Why do I wander everywhere? People that watch are like, what the hell, dude? They annexed the Philippines and Hawaii in 1890. And that Japan was like, what are you doing, bro? And so meanwhile, a little later on, and we're going to go, 1930-ish, throw me a date up. 1931, Japan invaded Manchuria. And in 1937, they invaded China. They already were pissed off at China, they invaded China. Now, public opinion and propaganda here at the West and in Western countries and in Great Britain and the United States are all like, they're not turning Japanese like that. So I'm turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I think so. They weren't. They were like anti-Japanese. The Western propaganda, the United States, is the Japanese are bad. And at the time, Japan was like a little mini superpower, for lack of a better, You know, it's a super. They were like a little superpower or something, and that's when, you know, after Japan started War of China and in Manchuria, that in 1940, okay, 1940, the United States implemented an embargo against Japan, and that was an embargo on everything except oil and gas. The United States thought that would be too bad, you know, too much. Of course, you know, you guys have played Civilization. Anybody played Civilization 3, 4, computer games from the XP days? You know, when you put an embargo on a country, what do? They get freaking pissed, okay? And Japan was no exception. They thought that the embargo that the United States implemented on them was hostile, and they didn't like it. Then, by mid-1940, while the embargo's going, Roosevelt moved the whole Pacific Fleet, which used to be in San Diego, and if he left it there, hindsight's 20/20, if he left it in San Diego, but he moved it from San Diego to Hawaii. And then he ordered a military buildup in the Philippines, which we had annexed. That's just to, you know, detour any further aggression by the Japanese. In the whole Southwest East Asian, is it the Southeast Asian region, Thailand, Burma, all of that. That's why Roosevelt put troops in the Philippines. So, you know, this is building. So it doesn't seem like a big surprise, does it, anymore? Finally, he had the troops in the Philippines. That didn't work. Japan was still aggressing everywhere in Southeast Asia. And he says, all right, then, you know, screw them, off with the oil. He ceased, the United States banned all oil exports to Japan in July of 1941. Yeah, I know. Japan and the United States, other people, the UN kind of, they encouraged negotiations and talks between the United States and Japan just to like smooth things out a little bit, man. It's like a hornet's nest over there. It's like a hornet's nest over there and buzzing around. But you know, Japan offered concessions. They offered to withdraw troops. They offered to do this, that. Roosevelt, Washington, D.C., he said all concessions, said hell with it. No. The prime minister at the time of Japan offered to meet with Roosevelt to discuss terms. Roosevelt basically said, screw you, you know. Japan kind of knew this was going to happen. Remember, I'm saying this surprise attack on Pearl Harbor started, 1890, 1920, then we're 1931, 1937, 1940, 1941. Take your pick, okay? While the prime minister is trying to get Roosevelt to talk, in early November, Japanese already got their fleet headed toward Hawaii. You know, they're like, la-di-da, we're headed to, let's go to Hawaii. Hawaii, you're a bust. Also, that same November, Japanese attacked minor attacks in the Philippines, Guam, Wake, Singapore, and Hong Kong. The newspapers at the time, European presses were saying, man, you know, war between Japan and the United States is imminent, you know. Now, yeah, that's the next thing. Now, back then we had like Morse code and radio chatter and all that also indicated in November that, actually in early November, that there's a fleet coming in to attack. They're talking about it. United States military officials, they doubted the credibility, seriously doubt that ever Pearl Harbor would ever be, you know, a target. They figured Japan was incapable of mounting a successful attack on Pearl Harbor, and while the other U.S. territories were put on high alert, Pearl Harbor wasn't. Pretty arrogant. Japan figured striking the Pacific Fleet would cripple them. It gave them confidence that it would be a short-lived war. Japan figured they'd hit. It'd be short. It wasn't, as you know, but bam, you know. 90 minutes after it all began in Pearl Harbor, an attack on December 7th, it was over. In total, 2,403 American service members and civilians were killed, and another 1,178 were wounded. 18 ships were sunk or run aground, including 5 battleships. The majority of everyone were like what's called junior enlisted. All the officers lived off base. The junior enlisted lived on their morning. They're cleaning. They're all 17, 18-year-olds. That was their story. It was over, like I said, 90 minutes, just done. Just like 9/11, over. Boom, done. They had the whole aftermath to do. Of course, the whole nation wasn't watching on TV like it was on 9/11. Like I said, I was watching ESPN when 9/11 happened. The first report was on an NBC show on black and white, and a radio show on NBC. This was at 8:52. When the attack happened, the reports coming in the mainland were at 2:33. At the time, it was only 21 seconds long. It wasn't so sensationalized like it is today. It was more, if you remember back then. I don't remember, I don't live, but I remember my parents saved all big print. Big in the newspaper, they had all the stories. Everything was in print, and they saved it. To this day, I have possession of some of that stuff. The war to end all wars. Huh. It seems like, Andy, it's just faded, just like, I remember Pearl Harbor Day when I was a kid, they'd all, I don't know, it'd be like you go downtown. I remember I go downtown with my dad, and they'd all have their remembrance flowers on, and of course they were all World War II veterans, so they fought in it in the war. So it just seems like everything's faded, like it's faded like 9/11 has. It's just, and now World War II veterans, heck, they're dying. I mean, I'm in my 60s, and my dad and mom are passed away, and a lot of the people I went to high school with, in fact, I think most all of them have lost their parents who fought in the World War II, Korea, that eras. As time goes, it fades. It just, I remember 9/11. It was watching it on live TV, and the whole country was mobilized, and the whole country was unified, and it was a big, big, big deal. And now, well, the country's anything but unified. Okay, the thing that amazes me though is that back to the Pearl Harbor Day on Thursday is that we were always taught that it was a sneak attack, and when you start reading, they knew something was coming on. They already hit the Philippines. They already hit Guam. They already hit Wake. They were already mad because we knew they were moving that way. They just didn't believe. And that's the fact of the matter. It's not that they didn't take the intelligence. They're like, okay, if the intelligence says they're coming. The Japanese are coming. The Japanese are coming. It was like Paul Revere wasn't riding a goddamn freaking horse. They knew they were intercepting Morse code. They've had hostilities since 1890. I don't think it was a sneak attack. History, the textbook tells us that, but once you get into like college and read history, it tells you a different story. Everything we were reading the last couple days is like, shit, this was coming. We were on embargo, and Roosevelt was telling them, screw you, I don't want to meet you, we're taking all your oil. They knew. They did, but they didn't. So, oh yeah. I'd be remiss. Saturday all day was big. I was watching Texas game, Florida's the Texas game. Then I watched the Bama game. Then I was trying to watch the Grizzly game, the Florida State game, the Michigan game, and BKFC 52 or 56. Saturday night with all the football going on. Great Falls homeboy, Great Falls hometown guy, Kai Stewart, retained his featherweight. That's 145 pounds. Yeah, featherweight's 145. Retained his heavy featherweight title at the BKFC 56 in Salt Lake City. No shit. Yeah, bad boy, badass. He earned this unanimous decision. It was over, who was it? Howard H.D. Davis. And Stewart was the dog, the underdog. Everybody was like betting against him. Yeah, let's get bet against him. Let's bet against him. Let's bet against him. Everybody, I seen the line. It's like, who in their right mind would bet against Montana boy? Don't you know the reputation that Montana fighters have? Man. And a big congrats to Kai, man. Good freaking job represent. I met him shopping. If you remember, Kai, I met you shopping. I love the stash. It's got the handlebar, old style, from like the Luden's coffee drop label with a guy with a fighting. Boom, boom, boom. Badass. Love your stash. Love how you represent, man. Dude. Yeah, I didn't see all of it because I had it on the computer. You know, I had a what should we call it? What? A hot link. I had a hot link on the laptop. So I had the laptop with the fight. I had a computer monitor with the Florida State game on. I had the television watching the Michigan game, and then my tablet, I was trying to watch the Grizzly game. I was literally watching 4 sporting events at once. And of the 4, Kai had the best stash, I'm sure. Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah. Even better than the guy that played for Texas. Yeah, Longhorns. All right. Andy's giving me the rock and roll sign, which means we got to rock. We got to roll out of here. So what is it, Andy? It's wine and cookie day? It's wine and cookie day. Remember, everybody? Come on, it's the holidays. It's spay and neuter your pets. Make sure that they're in and warm and taken care of. Adopt, don't shop, foster, rescue, go volunteer, drop some, I don't see that. You could go to grocery stores, thing they want to know if you want to donate. Why don't you just go get some dog food or cat food, donate it to the shelter? I don't want to spend money. I don't know what they'll spend it on. Get them some food. Andy, we're out of here. We're out of here. Adopt a shelter pet today. Until next Monday, we're out of here. Congratulations, Kai Stewart and the Michigan Wolverines. We will see you next week, everybody. Wine and Cookie Day.